So if you want to hear any lore whatsoever, make sure you join the Discord. There will be a question post there once a week, either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, where I will ask, hey, what's this? What's that? Whoever gets the question right gets to pick lore for this week. And this week's lore is on Revit City from Fallout 3. Prior to the Great War, the ship that would become Revit City was a dry-docked aircraft carrier. Since the Great War, the bow section has crumbled into the Potomac River. Thus, Mirelurks have taken refuge in the bow that has crumbled. Around 2237, members of the Naval Research Institute and its leader, Horace Pinkerton, needed new lab space. After clearing out the Mirelurks, they then created the Revit Station Science Outpost. Now, this is something that, I've played a ton of Fallout 3. I've talked about it a billion times here. I didn't know a lot of this. This kind of went under the radar, I guess, because I've only really ever done the replicated man quest a handful of times, if that. I just don't remember a lot of this. I just remember the lab's there, and this is that, and that's this, and whatever. They would use this lab for years to come. Now, in April of 2239, a small civilian settlement started to gather in the station. So it doesn't really say what the station is. I'm assuming it's when you first come in off of the bridge from Revit City. And on April 25th of 2239, Pinkerton, Annette Holmes, and Brad Danvers established Revit City to grow and protect this new civilization. Now, I'm going to get into kind of what I feel like the history of Revit City should be going forth, but just follow me. Pinkerton, Annette Holmes and Brad Danvers developed a 3-person council. One for science, that's where Pinkerton went. One for civilians and one for security. I believe, and I don't have it written down, I should, Danvers went to security. Let me just double check. Danvers went to security because Danvers' daughter, Lana, and Harkness trained the security guards for the city. Pinkerton held his spot as the science council officer, or the council science officer, until 2285 when Madison Lee took over the position after the abandonment of Project Purity. Lee took the team from Pinkerton, so the entire science team was adopted by Lee so they could work on Project Purity. Now this infuriated Pinkerton so much that he exiled himself from the ship, and now he's in that broken off part. When I was streaming Fallout 3, which it'll come back someday, when I was streaming Fallout 3, I was trying to get a 100 lockpick so I could do this quest properly and go talk to Pinkerton. There was another reason why I was doing it, and because Framkey was aquaphobic, so we couldn't swim to do the quest. We had to go around to do it. He took refuge in the broken-off bow. He thought Project Purity was a pipe dream, and they should have focused on more on Revit City's defenses, and to make Revit City seaworthy. I think the idea of a floatable, movable city that can, especially after the events of Fallout 3, could really, really help. And I'm going to get into that afterwards. In 2277, residents all live in their own quarters, and Revit City has a bar, a clinic, a hotel, an American History Museum, a science lab, a church, a restaurant, and even a shopping area. So it's really become this modernized place. And yeah, it sucks that the guy who was trying to make this a utopian floating city of wonder just can't. But also, I'll get into this later, they have non-irradiated food. They have an economy that they've built. They have kind of just, I don't want to say utopia, but it's my favorite settlement in Fallout 3 because it feels so lived in. And I guess that kind of feels like that because of the fact that it's a ship that people live in and it's rusted and dilapidated and kind of settled. But it feels very homey. One, if not the only places in the Capital Wasteland to offer non-irradiated food, any scientific advancement is due to the aggressive strategy of anything useful is to be brought back to the lab. And I think that's really cool because it's very early Brotherhood of that's technology, that belongs to me. If you get in my way, I will kill you. I really, really like that. And it works tremendously, especially when Lee is in charge. They have a great relationship set up with traders due to voting down. So everything with this council is done by votes. Voting down propositions to imply a bridge tax. So if you wanted to come onto the building, you had to pay a tax, which is a great thing that they got rid of because people can come and go and it's more free. And like, imagine having to pay, say, 20 caps just to go to the Muddy Rudder or just to see Flak and Shrapnel. I mean, yeah, they could say, oh, we can charge a high premium and that'll be great for them. But then people can't use the boat as refuge. If you're in the DC area, get lost. There's super mutants, there's feral ghouls, there's Mirelurks. Something is chasing you. Well, the boat's over there and people live there and it's safe. And they've also voted down the proposition to put a 50% increase on the exporting of fresh goods. So they're making money by putting out caravans of fresh potatoes, fresh carrots, tomatoes, apples, oranges, plums, peaches. I don't know if they're growing any of this, but I remember finding fresh carrots and potatoes and maybe tomatoes in Revit City a long ass time ago. They also vote down the proposition to recruit scientists from Tenpenny and Underworld. Now, this I thought was interesting because I wonder if how much Lee has control over. I mean, it's a third of a vote. It's 33% of the council. So I wonder if she's just like, we don't need anybody else. Or if she's just like, let me do this. I don't want egos in the way. And I know I could run a tight ship. Pun somewhat intended. Lana Danvers and Harkness also train all of the security. Many citizens of Revit City suffer from respiratory problems due to the buildup of rust. The ship also needs constant maintenance because it's a ship. If there's two things that need constant maintenance, it's three things that need constant maintenance. Is a house, a baby, and a ship. There are also a social class system conflict between the hangar deck and the upper deck citizens. Just like anything else, once you get people that are working with their hands and people that aren't working with their hands or just whatever, just there's always going to be this person makes a little bit more than that person. People think they're better than everybody else. This is something that I think really could have been explored, like really, really explored. But it's not super, super in depth, but the ideas are there and I appreciate it. It's not like, I mean, I'm not going to hide, I'll say it. New Vegas would have been like, here's a bunch of extra lore that's just thrown into it. After the events of Project Purity, Revit City became the first trading partner with the Brotherhood of Steel. In exchange for weapon and enclave tech, the Revit City police force would guard water caravans in a way that the Brotherhood of Steel could not. So the Brotherhood, once the fresh water is being developed and bottled and sent out, the Brotherhood wants to give it out for free, which is great. Everybody needs water to live. It should be free. You should have access to clean drinking water. But the Brotherhood can't send troops out, and I don't think people would honestly take water from giant 10-foot metal men, giant 10-foot metal monks. The Revit City Police Department or police force is helping out with this. At first, it was great until the Revit City police force was stretched way too thin, especially after raiders became more organized to ambush these caravans. At one point, only every 1 in 4 were actually coming back from Revit City. This drained not only the resources and water, but also all of the men that they had. This had made the police force question Lion's judgment in giving away the water out for free. I think there's a lot of fun things that could be explored post Fallout 3 that I have a feeling we could see something like this in the Fallout show, which I'm going to get into in a minute. But let's just go to the wiki. I get all of my lore from fallout.fandom.com. Revit City has some of the best loot. Just like, I'll just say it real quick, the intelligence bobblehead is here. You get the rocket launcher schematics here. There is also A3-21's plasma rifle, one of the best guns in the entire game. I had a friend who, every time he booted up Fallout 3 as a new save, went to Revit City, got that gun, and then started playing. Like, that was his routine. There's a ton of quests here, too. Revit City has no holding facilities for criminals and zero tolerance for crime. Staying in the marketplace after hours can cause the guards to become hostile. Many citizens and security guards will comment about a citizen dying from drinking river water and then comment that the city's water isn't any better. One can overhear some non-player characters talking about a child falling off the deck. I don't remember that. There is a baseball diamond set up on the flight deck that James Hargrave and CJ Young use. If one is caught killing or enslaving anyone from Revit City upon re-entry, the guards have unique dialogue regarding their actions. If one inserts modified FEV virus into Project Purity, Rivet City appears in the ending with casualties, but upon returning, none are present. Pre-war fighter jets have fallen off the bow of the non-city area of the aircraft carrier. Some can still be seen on the flight deck if the player character chooses to visit from the front of the ship. Paladin Dance mentions opening his own junk stand in Rivet City when he was younger. It was at a time when he befriended a man named Cutler. And together, the two scraped by as traitors. They later joined up with the Brotherhood of Steel when they made a recruitment run through Rivet City. I don't remember ever hearing that. Cool. That's Rivet City, probably my favorite settlement, maybe in the entire series. But it's definitely up there. My favorite from 3 without a doubt, but one that I could see being something huge. That's lore.